Hello everyone, I hope you all are doing well. Today I'm here to talk about something completely different. This is not another video on vocal exercises or Sharadhe verses or anything like that. I'm here to share some thoughts on a very interesting topic that is in everybody's minds. How do you motivate your kids to practice? It's a very interesting question, right? Very important and a valid concern from a parent who wants their kids to genuinely like this art form and put in the practice. But like any other activity, it's such a challenge, isn't it? This is such a deep topic. There's so much to unpack, but I'll share some 2 cents from what I have gathered as a teacher, as a student myself, what motivated me. I've thought a lot about this, even for myself and for those who I teach, and as a concerned parent, because my daughter also learns and she has own challenges and hurdles that we have passed. And I'd love to share my perspective, hoping that this will help all of you. So, how do you motivate your child into practicing every day? Or how do you motivate them to like Carnatic music? Unfortunately, there is no tips and tricks I can share, or there's no one thing or three things you can do. I don't want to make this about like a clickbait. 3 things you can do to motivate them. It doesn't work like that. But the subject goes beyond any particular activity. So, what do I mean by that? If you notice your child interested in a particular thing, most often, I'm not saying every single case, but a majority of them, they automatically develop interest in whatever you are interested in. Let's say you were an awesome basketball player in your school and for some reason you couldn't pick it up as a profession or just died out, but you watch a lot of sports and you watch a lot of matches. You go and socialize with friends around who watches sports. Automatically your child is gonna pick up basketball or any other sport, and they're gonna wanna practice and get better just because they wanna impress you in some way. They may not know that. Subconsciously, that's what's happening. At least till they become teenagers. That's a golden period as a parent. I love children under 12, 13 when they don't develop that adult confused brain yet. If you're interested in sports, they're going to pick up sports. If you're interested in music, they're going to pick up music. If you're interested in Western music, they're going to pick up Western music, right? If you tend to speak a certain language, they're going to pick up that. If your home serves a certain cuisine, they're going to develop palate for that. So you know where I'm getting at, right? So how do you motivate? The very first step as a parent you can do is, first of all, develop a liking towards Carnatic music. This may not be applicable to you. If you have a general Carnatic music background in your family, you've been listening to them all the time, you're familiar with it, you have a lot of exposure automatically, then it's going to come to your child not because of your genes, okay? I want to make it clear. It's not because of the genetic propensity, because I do believe we all have that genetic propensity. If you are a human, if you have a human voice, you can sing. Our voices are designed to sing, just like whales. Did you know whales actually compose songs? They sing. And never did we say one whale is tone deaf, the other whale is born to be a singer. Somehow we have developed this stereotypical idea that this runs in genes. So I can say with reasonable authority, because I see kids who come to my classes with absolutely no awareness. Their parents may not be exposed to any music, forget Carnatic music, any music, but through classes and giving them specific coaching in how to listen, developing good taste from music and so many other things beyond just classroom learning. Sharadhe verses, Jayashree verses come later, but just these aspects of listening and developing a good taste, giving them a good environment. I've seen kids just doing wonderful and they are getting interested. That's why it's important as a parent, you have to develop an interest in this art form. If not, then it's okay, your child may not pick it up as fast, and it's totally fine and you should be okay with it. So if you're a parent who has never sung in their lives, or you think that you don't have a musical background, nobody in your family sings, or maybe your grandfather sang or whatever, your previous generation sang, but for some reason you didn't have the time. I'm sure many of you can relate to those stories, even if it's not you directly, but you may know people around that. And they have this real urge to initiate their children into music, which is wonderful. But for most parents, I see that intention just dies there. They just leave everything to a guru, which works in very, very special, rare cases where, at least in those days, right? Think about all the musicians and the prodigies, so-called prodigies, and talented, stalwart musicians. If you really observed how these big artists learned, they literally would spend entire day in their guru's house. So parents didn't have to worry to provide this environment in their house. They still did, because practically every temple would be playing some kriti, some devotional song which was based on Carnatic music. So whether you like it or not, that music is constantly ringing in your ears. As if that was not enough, the kids would be just spending hours in guru's houses. So literally from morning to evening, they would be eating with the guru, they will be washing dishes as they walk, as the guru, sometimes they will just go take a nap and you have to just listen to music or practice. You know, it's like a typical Gurukulam system. We are not in that era. But that should not become a disadvantage. The advantage we have today's age, artists can literally pour into your living room just with the click of a button, isn't it? So as a parent, I would urge you to build a taste for this music if you really want your child to like this art form. I take this very seriously, and I completely understand that parents may not know which music to. You can't just Google saying Shankarabharanam Alapana or Mohanam Alapana. You'd be surprised. Each of our YouTube feeds are so personalized. Literally, I feel like we all live in a bubble, right? So if I type Shankarabharanam Alapana, I would get all the stalwart musicians that I intend to listen to. M.L. Vasantakumari, Nedunuri, today's artists, Trishu Brothers, T.M. Krishna, Anjali Gayatri, all of them will come up. But if a parent who has never heard of Carnatic music, if they do Shankarabharanam, you know what's going to come up in the top feeds. I completely understand that challenge. So I try to build a playlist and then attach whatever Geetam they're learning, whatever Raga they're learning, link some associated compositions from good musicians, really good established musicians in this industry have sung, or just Alapana, and link them. So if you listen to Alapanas and famous compositions over and over again, that's just going to come to you naturally, and then you're going to pick up so faster. So as a parent, you have to build a taste for Carnatic music. The first thing you can do is ask the teacher, what singers, what musicians should they listen to, and just keep playing them on YouTube. Those days we had to go to the cassette shop and get the CDs and cassettes and then play in loop. You don't have to do that. It's just freely available, and really, really good quality concerts are available on YouTube to watch. So at least, 1 hour a day in the background, even if they can listen while sleeping or while eating, subconsciously doing the homework. Okay, so just make them listen passively, and that is one thing. The other thing you can do to develop interest as a family is take them to concerts. Initially, it may be boring. I've seen kids don't have the patience to sit all through, these concerts are typically 2.5 to 3 hours long. It's totally fine if they don't sit throughout the concert, but slowly, one concert after the other, they will start to pay attention. And 1 hour, then 1 hour, 15 minutes, 1.5 hours, and eventually they'll start liking it. And the third thing you can do is just let them sing freely at home without any judgment. This is mainly coming from some of my observations where kids tend to have this restriction in them to not sing in front of parents. If your child is like that, hit a comment below, I'd love to know. They may lock themselves in the room and silently practice and then come out and say, I practiced. But whenever you ask them to sing something, they will be so shy, they will be so restricted. So my suggestion would be to let them just be, so they can start just singing freely. It doesn't have to match the shruti. If a music is ringing in their ear, it's more likely that they're going to at least hum that sound. Even if they don't remember exactly all the swaram and talam and everything, they will at least start humming. That again goes back to listening. So if you're constantly, there is music in your house, then of course they're bound to get that humming tune, and then automatically they'll hum. And you can start humming and singing. It becomes a natural expression. They're gonna get used to just singing as an expression. So then gradually they'll start opening up and start to sing when you ask them to. Only when a child feels confident and they themselves are able to know that, oh, I am sounding nice, I'm sounding really tuneful, that's when they get their inner confidence. It doesn't work like be confident, just sing loudly and clearly and just be confident. It doesn't come like that. They also have ear sense and tone sense built in, so they can know if they are going off Shruti, they you know it's subpar. They know that in the back of the mind, even if they can't articulate clearly. So that's what is coming out as shyness. That just goes away gradually the more they listen. That's what in Tamil they call it Kelvi Jnanam. Kelvi means hearing and Jnanam means knowledge. Just building that knowledge by listening. This exactly works like how you learn a language. You know, the accent. How do you think Indian kids in America pick up American accent so fluidly? You don't put them in special spoken English classes, do you? They just pick it up. How is that possible? Exactly the same way Carnatic music or any music for that matter works. The way I grew up is my dad used to play all kinds of music. We had classical music majority of the time, Hindustani, Carnatic music, but we used to play ghazals and jazz and western music, hip hop, all kinds of music. So that's when you build a palette, a good palette for music, so you can enjoy any kind of music. Once that's there, once they have a listening sense, automatically they will become tuneful, they will have more confidence when they sing, and all this matters. Finally, they will want to sit down and practice only. That will happen definitely. But it's not an easy 3-step process. I know I went a little here and there, sometimes rambling perhaps, I hope not. But I really wanted to speak out of my heart, and based on all the observations I have seen with my kids I teach and my own daughter. It's more of a, kind of a parenting advice than to the kids, because I genuinely feel that every child is talented, and especially singing is something innate. If you have these vocal cords, they are built for speaking and they are built for singing as well. I absolutely believe that. Unfortunately, we have not done research in India, but I know Western musicians have done these research. In fact, I'm currently in the middle of reading a book about mind and music. This is a very interesting story I read in this book, where he says this guy is a Western musician, and he's a PhD in musicology and whatnot. All the theory he knows very well, but he's not a singer. And he goes to a small tribe in Africa, and he wants to understand their music, and so he goes and stays with them. And in one of those, bonfire, campfire, whatever, one of the person in the tribe, they asked him, "Why don't you sing?" And he's like, "Oh, I will sing. I just do research in this. I'm not a singer." Like the entire crowd, they just laughed out loud, like unbelievable. Their expression was like, "What? You can talk? Why can't you sing?" Right? It was that obvious, because in their tribe, everybody sang. So this was something they never even questioned. This is exactly what I always felt, and it was so endearing to hear, this story. I genuinely believe that all kids can sing, all adults can, every individual, every human being can sing. I think the biggest motivation for a child or anybody in getting them to sing and perfect the art is when they know that they are progressing, when they themselves are able to see that they are getting better by the day, getting better version of themselves. That's the biggest motivation. It's not the stickers, it's not candies, it's not bribing them with some activities like, if you practice 10 hours, I'm going to take you for this vacation. This is all temporary. It's going to die out. They're going to get used to this. Okay? So the best way to motivate and hardest way, honestly, it's not hard as in difficult. It's hard because it's a long process. It's how life works, right? So it's a long process. You have to be patient and you have to do the right things to provide them the right environment. I really hope this is useful for those parents who are confused, genuinely wanting their kids to get this art form right, and your concerns are all valid, but just try to have a slightly different mindset rather than forcing them to practice. Of course, that's also important. Discipline is necessary, of course, but that will only work after you have taken care of the necessary environments, and then you can enforce whatever you want. So you have to build a certain trust, certain likability in this aspect from your kids, earn that, and then you can discipline them. Hope you can get one or two things from this video. Thank you so much.